This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday, giving us financial holistic advice from our advisor, Caleb Doane, who is the Vice President of Foster Financial. Good morning, Caleb.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Thanks very much.
Yes. Okay. So we are still talking about what people need to do to continue to plan for their end of year. Okay. So we've covered a couple of topics. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah. So today I wanted to talk about contributing to a 529 account. So this is another one of those accounts that you need to contribute to by the end of the calendar year, as opposed to the tax filing deadline, which of course isn't until April of 2024.
Yes, and I believe we've talked about these accounts before. And so, but right now it's more significant because people really need to make sure they are getting their deductions or getting their contributions in now. So can you start by breaking down what is a 529 account?
Yeah, great question. So a 529 account is a tax advantaged way to save and invest for qualified education expenses.
Okay.
And so typically, if somebody were to just take money from their, bank, put it into a brokerage account, let's say, they put $10,000 in, it grows to $15,000. If they were to pull that out, they would pay taxes on the growth. They would pay 15% capital gains tax on the growth.
Okay.
Now, if instead they put that $10,000 into a 529 account, it grows to $15,000. They pull it out and it goes towards qualified education expenses. They don't pay anything in taxes.
Right. Okay. I think this was the account. I was like, oh my goodness, this account is amazing. Why isn't everyone putting funds into education? Because it could go towards anything, right? In education, books and electronics or tuition, but then you can also roll it to other people if one family member does not use it. Is that correct?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's exactly right. So I mean, this is a great account that parents really like. Sometimes they just overfund an account for their oldest child, and then whatever they don't use, they just roll to the next child. So they're pretty flexible in what you're able to use them for.
Yes. Okay. So why is this account so important now at the end of the year?
Yeah. So already there's that nice tax advantage where you don't pay taxes on the gain in the account. Indiana actually sweetens the pot a little bit, and they give you an extra tax credit for the amount that you're contributing.
Oh.
And so if you contribute up to $7,500 in any given tax year, if you're married filing jointly, you get a 20% tax credit for your Indiana taxes. So if you contribute $7,500 into an account, you get a $1,500 tax credit for your Indiana state taxes, which is really great, because there's a ton of people who end up having to pay in $400, $500, $600 when it comes to their state taxes. Federal, it's a little bit more common to get a refund, but state, it seems like a lot of people are constantly paying in. And so if that's you, it can be a great opportunity to contribute to one of these accounts and then get that nice tax credit.
Yes, and this is an account that you can actually contribute to throughout the entire year, right? And you say it's up to $7,500. And so do people normally spread it out so it's equal increments each month? Or do they wait until now to make sure they just get it all in a big lump sum?
Yeah, I think when people are first contributing to it, a lot of time people kind of procrastinate and wait till the end of the year and then contribute. But then they kind of get into a routine where it's like, hey, I love the tax advantage of this. I'm going to start contributing $750 a month or whatever it might be to kind of max out the account by the end of the year. The people who really, really like these accounts are the parents and grandparents who are already paying for education expenses out of pocket and getting no sort of tax benefit from it. So, somebody at home might have a child that their tuition is coming up in the next couple months or something like that. And up until now, they've just been paying out of their checking account. Instead, you can take that same money, put it in a 529, in a couple months when the bill comes due, take it out of the 529, pay the expenses, and then you just got that tax credit.
Okay, so Caleb, something that just popped in my mind. Is this only for college education, or is it any education? Because people pay some tuitions for preschool and up, especially if it is a private school.
Right? Yeah, you can use this for some private school education expenses as well. It gets a little bit more strict depending on the type of school and stuff like that, but still it's pretty broad with what you're able to spend this on. So even private school for high school, for example.
Interesting. I mean, I would think like, okay, maybe a backpack, school supplies, like all the way from kindergarten. But that's the benefit of having a financial advisor. You know all the rules
Right.
and can lead and guide the proper way to utilize these accounts for
Yeah.
our benefits, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Caleb, you all offer complimentary consultations. So can you kind of give me a little bit of information about how that works?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first time that somebody comes in, I always say it's a very low pressure meeting. It's really just for us to get to know each other. So I always say there's no big financial decisions or anything like that are made in that first meeting. It's just for the new client to kind of get to know us and us to get to know them. And people go away from that meeting understanding where we could potentially help them in their financial plan. And so it's something that we meet together. I have them kind of go home. Typically we schedule a second appointment, gives them time to kind of digest all the things that we talked about. And then they come back and we see if moving forward makes sense. So it's something that even if somebody's just looking for maybe a second opinion on something, it's really helpful to come in and chat about it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you as always, Caleb.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it. And if you would like more information about Foster Financial, I'll list their website below, and we'll be right back. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.